Greetings and salutations, Focuz Up family. Welcome to the March 22, 24 installment of the Focuz Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, or catching up with some replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focuz Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, nice as in the word saint spelled backwards. And today, my co-hosts are, first of all, let me introduce a brother. We got this brother Sam. Sam, I'm gonna come back to you, but we got brother Sam. We got brother Student X, star of Mutant Politics. We got the infamous El Pooh, star of Spin That Back. I don't think we're gonna have either of those shows after this show. We'll talk about that infamous El Pooh. But yes, we're down a few people. Mr. Floyd X is in the ether. He'll be on the show. He'll tap in, and Miss First Lady J, she might just be tapping in on the comments. But we don't have Brother Walk. Brother Walk is taking care of some business. So, shout out to Brother Walk, host and star of Sex Talk with Walk Thursday at 9 p.m. And that having been said, Brother Sam, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate y'all having me on this morning. Like Thomas said, my name's Sam. Came on here to try and give my little simple opinion on some of the topics today. So happy to be here, man.
What's up? No government names. No, I'm just kidding. So let's do the next. What's going on with you, brother, man?
Oh, man, another day, man. I want to give a shout out to Elon for rescuing those astronauts that Biden and Kamala left stranded in space for 10 months. Man, after it was supposed to be 8 days. Man, shout out to Elon, man. What's up, y'all?
Man, so much to unpack there. Infamous El Pooh, what's going on with you, brother?
Yes, sir. Blessed and happy to be here once again. And I wanted to give a shout out to Elon, too. I turned my Tesla in, so.
That's what's up. And sorry, I did say First Lady J, she should be in the comments. But Mr. Floyd X, you don't have to necessarily pop in and say what's up, but what's up with you, brother? So that having been said, let's get on to the get. You know what? I'm sorry, Mr. Student X. You brought that up. I gotta offer up a comment. He's talking about Elon. First of all, shout out to Elon for getting those people down. It's not an issue of the Biden administration stranding those people. It's just that there's cycles and stuff when these people come in and stuff like that. But you know what? I'm glad that those astronauts are back and safe. And I know that Mr. President Trump is saying that he would like to pay, them overtime out of his own pocket. So, hey, that's a good own thing. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, they was paying $5 a day, being stuck in space, brother, in a space station.
Yeah, that's tough. Oh, and we got the super OG, Mr. Focuz Up himself. Top of the morning to the Focuz Up Show. Top of the morning to you, brother. So that's what's up. So that having been said, let's get on to the get. First thing we're going to talk about, this is going to be a rest in peace to Big George Foreman. Now, this dude, I mean, this guy had a complete sorry about that. Hey, big cuz. Hilarious comment there. But anyways, back to more solemn, George Foreman. George Foreman had an incredible career. He basically had multiple careers. He had his original career boxing that ultimately sort of like led up with the big fight with Muhammad Ali. But he had this big comeback that also ended up in a championship. And then you talk about that, he created the George Foreman grill that that just kind of like revolutionized a lot of things, the cooking and stuff like that. So he's had multiple lives. He was a pastor, a father of many children who were also named George Foreman. Kind of crazy, but this was a big, lovable, human being, and it's a tragedy that he's gone. Anybody got something they want to say about the Honorable George Foreman?
Yeah, man. George Foreman, man, 6'4", 260, you know, to put in perspective. From the Fifth Ward, Houston. I have a lot of family, you know, there. You know, a lot of my family come from Beaumont, Texas, too, right outside of there. You know, a two-time world heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist. You know, he made more money with that George Foreman grill than he did boxing. You know, but a very good brother. You know, there's so many stories out there about him. You know, but yeah, R.I.P. Man, that was a good brother.
Yeah, George, you know, he was figure he was probably only one of the boxers that had a life after boxing, you know, like with the grills and you know, he became like a famous face for a lot of stuff, you know, he was like a gentle giant all of a sudden after his fights with Ali and you know, so rest in peace to that man. You know, he was a great dude.
Yeah, he was. Shout out to George Foreman for that grill because when I got my apartment in the early 2000s, first thing I did was grab me a George Foreman grill. I had to cook my little hot links and everything on there. So shout out for that, brother.
Yeah.
So that having been said, let's pivot to one of our very interesting topics. What we're going to try to do going forward is post a lot of these potential topics in the Focus Up Facebook page. So, you know, please become a friend of that or follow that and, you know, suggest whatever topics that you want to talk about. And we can sort of like dip our toe in some of these discussions. Brother Student X and Afro Agnostics and Brother Yusef did more than dip their toe in one of those topics. But, you know, one of the topics that was very popular was this. So you're going to put it up there for us, Mr. Floyd X. Men save money being single. Women save money being in a relationship. You know, I saw this on a Facebook post and I was thinking like, wow, this is very profound and very absolutely true because my experience is that, you know, men can function on a very simple level. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have all these frivolous, I mean to say frivolous, but these pretty things in your apartment and all this other stuff and just all of the stuff. You real sort of like meat and potatoes with it. I mean, even with your clothes, I understand that some people kind of dressed out and really rock the fits, but there's just a simplicity that's just intrinsically within sort of like manhood. Whereas women, I don't mean it in a negative way, but you know, a negative way, but you know, they tend to be super extra and expensive. So what's your take on this, Brother Charles X?
Bro, you treading real lightly, you know, on this topic. I know that's the first, you know, comment I want to make. But in general, you know me, you know, as being a man advocate, the first thing that I always say is that, you know, man, brother, is on us. You know what I mean? We men, you know, I always got to throw my shout out, man. Long live Kevin Samuels, you know, he taught us a lot, you know, and brought things to the forefront. Sorry, Lady J, you know what I mean? But look, you know, Kevin Samuels, he said it best, you know, men, we choose who we marry, but women, they choose who they have sex with. You see what I'm saying? You know, so the thing is that, you know, who we ultimately get with, man, you know, the choice is on us. And if we're not, you know, putting the foot down, you know, if you will, or establishing boundaries and setting parameters or whatnot, that's on us. You know, if we're not picking the right attributes, you know, that are attracted to us, you know, and that, you know, makes sense to us is on us, you know. So one of the common things I've seen is that, you know, my understanding is, you know, of course, I've been married for 29 years now, you know, so I've been out the market, but, you know, still around. But my understanding is a lot of women, you know, that they expect for the men to take care of, you know, dinner, lunch, breakfast, you know, whole 9 yards. If we going out, you know, you know, and then they kind of hoard, you know, their money. You know, if you pick one that has a lot of debt, you know what I mean, then now you become obligated, you know, the chime in on that, you know, and help on that situation, you know, but. You know, at the end of the day, it's on us. You know, we can make money as men, if you will, being inside a relationship. You know, because you can have a certain level of efficiency, but it can't be. And maybe this is like, you know, some old school pimp vibes, but you can't. You know, all the money, you know, is under your control. You know, in terms of how it's going to be allocated and how it's going to be spent. It's not what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Nah, you know what I mean? I'm controlling, you know, and we, you know, that's not just you know, it's a team effort, you know, but, you know, we're going to look at how resources are going to be allocated and we're going to move appropriately. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be that way, but I do understand the sentiments.
And by the way, Afro Agnostics, he wanted to put out there, he said, yeah, big Nazi salute to Elon. So, yeah, hopefully we get you on the show for some of these later topics, Afro Agnostics. But Brother Sam, what's your take on this topic?
Yeah, I think the grind is different for single dudes. They always on the move, and like you have more time to yourself in order to save, make money. You don't have to worry about, you know, I mean, you might date, but your money is your money. But when you're in a relationship, the dynamic kind of changes. Like I've been married for 30 years, so when in our relationship, we kind of even. She do her thing, I do mine. As long as we come together and things is getting taken care of. So, yeah, I'm sure she's saving some money, but I'm still saving money as well, as long as it benefits the both of us, But I'll say, the single dude, I just think the grind is different, so he's able to save a little bit more.
That's what's up. Infamous El Pooh, what's your take on this?
I really don't have much to add because what these brothers just said kind of just sums it all up. But I do want to say one thing. Mr. Charles X said, "Women choose who they have sex with." Well, if you got that paper, you can make that choice a whole lot easier.
And again, I'm not saying that it's women taking advantage of you. I'm just saying that the things that they want tend to be more expensive or more complicated than the things that a guy may tend to want. Look, there's going to be some extra guys. There's going to be some guys that are kind of divas, and so it's not just all one direction. But I'm just saying that I can function a whole lot more streamlined by myself than with somebody else. That's really it is. So again, it's not so much as dogging them out. I'm just saying that their taste didn't, they just tend to have a more exquisite taste. So that having been said, Mr. Floyd X, you don't got something you want to come in from the either to offer on this?
Yes, I did. I want to clarify or get the quote better what Mr. Kevin Samuel said. He said, men decide who gets married, women decide who gets to have sex. That's the better statement of the quote. And it's profound in a sense because we can't have sex without the woman's consent in the proper world. And they can't get married unless we choose that we decide that we want to marry her. So they don't come to us. That's why I think it's on us to propose as opposed to a woman proposing to the man. So we decide who gets married. They decide who has sex. And as far as the men save money being single, I was discussing that earlier today with somebody, and it's a true statement because I know it comes from these internet dating shows where the women be like, if he ain't making over 100,000, I don't want him. I could do better by myself. So it's like the host was like, so if you're making 100,000, him coming in with his 60,000 is a plus to you, right? Because right now you just paying by yourself. But a lot of times the women don't want it that way. They want somebody who's equal or better, the hypergamy thing, equal or better, or who makes more money than them so that they can be, the new word is so that they can be kind to them and spend money on them.
I'm glad you brought Brother Floyd in on that because look, I was prepared to let this topic, just slide on by and whatnot. But I was prepared for it. So to the point, so women, purportedly, this is what my understanding is that they're looking for 666, 6-figure income, at least 6 inches, and then 6 feet tall, So, but the thing is that when you look at exactly what percentage of Black people make $100,000 or more annually inside the United States, you're only talking about 6% of Black adults, period. And of those, because you have a more likely chance of making that 100,000 if you're college educated. 16% of those tend to be, you had to have at least a bachelor's degree. So really, when you're looking at the men, it's only maybe about 1 to 2%, that even fits that bill. You know what I mean? You know, so then that means that you have the majority of women fighting for and wanting the same men. You see what I'm saying? You know, so and then that's where the dilemma, you know, comes into play. You know, that we're facing, and we're gonna get the culture later on. But I just wanted to point that out since our brother, you know, I did bring that up.
Yeah, it's still a single mindset. You know what I mean? Like you can make six figures together, you know, but if your mindset is set on how you know, if you're looking for a relationship, you can't be single minded. You know what I mean? You know, you have to try and build upon whoever it is that you're gonna want to be with. You know, so if you sitting over here and you like, yeah, I want to do it with six figures, and you just decide you don't want to work, that just make the task even harder. You know, but if the both of y'all is making, you know, 300, there go, you know, or whatever, you know, whatever makes six figures, then hey, what's wrong with that? You know,
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I got one thing to say about those 666 plans. You're good for about 6 minutes of fun, and then I'm done. That's it.
All right. So that having been said, let's flip on over to the next topic. This was like the cover story. Am I correct? Big U turns himself in. Mr. I want to say Student X, you said you did your due diligence on this one. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I definitely, you know, was studying the topic, you know, mainly because honestly, I had no clue who the hell Big U was. You know what I mean? I saw it was being lit up and being talked about. And then when I started looking into it, then I started understanding that, you know, in the culture, and you know, I spell it KKKULTRURE, you know, because I think the culture, you know, that many of us have adopted is self-destructive and not productive at all, you know. But as I start looking into the situation even more, you know, then I saw the ties, you know, to, you know, the Diddy, you know, extortion, you know, a lot of people had a lot of things to say, you know, on this particular, you know, subject. And, you know, I was just surprised at how many athletes and others, you know, checked in, you know, if you will, you know, to this individual and you know, and basically what was kind of surrounding things. You know, apparently Jim Brown, you know, knew the brother because Jim Brown worked real close with a lot of brothers who had been previously incarcerated and whatnot, trying to change their lives around and whatnot, you know. And then, of course, Jason Whitlock. A lot of people don't necessarily like Jason. You know what I mean? I see, you know, our brother right there, you know what I mean? You know, but you know, there's a lot of people that chimed in on this subject. And, you know, I just like to say that, you know, it's this gang culture in particular that so many of our people, you know, gravitate towards. And I give you an example. LaMelo Ball has two brothers playing inside the NBA, had a daddy, a mama, stayed in a privileged neighborhood. But this brother tatted up, you know, like, you know, he just got out of prison and now he a gangster rapper, you know what I mean? And you know, it just doesn't make sense to me, you know, that this is what we continue to gravitate, you know, towards. You know, eventually I figure that we're going to, you know, stop doing the same thing, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we're not getting any different result, you know, through the years, you know. So, you know, that's all I got to share with that right now.
Mr. Floyd X, I see you up there. I know you got something to say about this whole Big U situation.
Yeah, man. I want to tread lightly. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of us live in LA and things of that nature, but you can't be out
don't make
here.
A problem for us.
Yeah, can't be out here bullying people, and he's being accused of a murder. So that's like major. You know what I'm saying? To murder somebody, especially somebody who was a friend of your son and stay in your house. If the allegations are true, he needs to be in jail. And I mean, I hate it for a brother that was out there purportedly doing something positive to be secretly doing something negative. You can't be two-faced out there. If you're going to be on the positive, you got to be on the positive, not no two-faced or no fake backdoor stuff. You know what I'm saying? So to all of the young people out there, if you want to make change and be truthful about it, be truthful about it all the way. Don't be out there extorting people and bullying people for money. It's not a good look. It's not the right thing to do for the black community, like Brother Charles was talking about, the culture. That's foul.
Brother Sam, you got something to say about this?
Yeah, just the internet is a dangerous place, and so whatever you do, it could be the truth, it can be a lie, but if it get out there, the public is gonna make up their own opinion. So, just kind of be careful how you handle your business.
Yeah, because see, my thing is this, I'm a person that believes that people in power that have ability to do good things should maintain power. I understand that a lot of times this power is acquired through, improper means. But at the end of the day, I'm really more concerned about the end than the means. And if he can use his power, he can use influence to do positive things. That's what I'm going to support, and that's what's up. Obviously, I'm not okay with just lashing out and doing criminal things for the sake of being criminal or being mean or definitely murdering someone who doesn't do something that's worthy of being murdered for. But I mean, when you're talking about the whole shakedown thing, look, if you offer a legitimate service to somebody, I'm all for compensating somebody for a legitimate service. But if you're basically saying, hey, I'm going to knock this down unless you pay me, that's something I can never get behind. So again, if you can use your street influence to put money in people in the streets and to do something positive, that's good. If it's just being just straight on some some bully type stuff, I can't justify that. But that having been said, I think he's an influential guy, and I tend to like influential guys out available to do positive influential things. What you got to say about this, Infamous Elpo?
Well, these are some strong allegations, and they are allegations.
Allegations.
I've been hearing about a lot of this stuff for years, but that's just like, just street talk. You believe half of what you see, none of what you hear. I do know that this man has been doing a lot of positive stuff, in the community for years. Now, if this stuff is true, you got to look at what's going on here. You got a lot of people that's, connected to this, that was going on these podcast shows and speaking on crimes and stuff. They're trying to implicate Big U, but implicating themselves at the same times, and they are caught up in the allegations too. So you got to be careful with this internet and stop going on these podcast shows with some of these other people and spreading your business and getting asked these police questions and just giving up too much information. It's another black dude out there. I'm not going to mention his name. I think he go by CS2 back or something like that. Allegedly. But he be asking some crazy questions and recording people's conversations and stuff, throwing them up on the internet, and all that's adding fuel to the fire. It's a crazy situation. So just be careful. If you have a criminal past, don't discuss it on the internet.
Hey, first it was DJ Vlad, and now it's the No Jumper, where brothers go on those shows and confess all their crimes, telling the story about how they attacked Meek Mill and they counted up the money, and then they come in and they ran the whole play online, and that people were saying that's not offense. They used the stuff from the No Jumper to get these people. You know what I'm saying? And you got to move smarter than that. Stop talking on the internet about things that you've done.
And then another thing too, I'm gonna say this much too. If you're gonna say something, stick to your story. Don't be changing up your story. I ain't gonna say anybody did that, but I do know, Big U said, when Nipsey got killed, they had rushed on down to the marathon store. Then another occasion, he said he wasn't even in town. So watch yourself.
Yeah. The last thing I would add on it is just to add a little bit more, context is, it's not just murder the brothers are charged with, extortion, human trafficking, fraud. There's athletes named inside, of famous athletes that says they were defrauded, like a Shaq, Draymond Green, because I remember part of the game is, and I remember this popped up a lot when, what was that little silly rapper that did Gummo, back from the East Coast,
Doechii 6ix9ine.
Yeah, 6ix9ine. This whole checking in aspect of things. When you come in around, these cats was like, look, if you wasn't checking in, meaning, giving some money, then your life could be in danger. Was what the allocations, were the allegations were suggesting, and, of course, brother, he wasn't just, anybody, reportedly he was the leader of the Rolling 60s, Crips, which, those been some strong, organized, brothers, for a long, long time. And then when the feds come in and they, put some charges on you, unless you're Trump, man, they already have a lot of evidence, already gathered, ready to rock and roll, and chances are you're going to get convicted. The feds are a lot more organized when it comes to these charges than even, your state people, so, he's going to jail. Let me make that clear. It's just a matter of who else is coming. It was the COVID fraud that was going on. It was all type of things going on, allegedly, so we'll see.
Expect some more snitching too. Trust me.
Exactly.
And like Big Cuz says, we do not support suspicious activities. It's not just the function of saying, don't snitch on yourself, don't talk about this stuff. Some of the stuff you just got to not do. That's what it comes down to.
Straight up.
So, and it's hard to control the narrative if you always in the paper, so if he wanted to be famous, so it's hard to control the narrative if you out in the public like that.
So you think you gotta move in silence like a G in lasagna or something like that. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. So that having been said, I think we can fit in some Ye before we get to the commercial. Brother Ye, man, it's like I want to look. I have sympathy for him because he clearly has some serious mental issues. This is a guy who did some great music, in his time. But this brother is just too far gone. Here goes his list, of all these people, the betrayal list. This is all of this stuff. And of course, he even talks about the Black community and of course the Jews. This brother is super far gone. Then you're talking about the things that he actually posted about Jay-Z's kids. Here we go. This you just got to see this. He says, wait, has anyone ever seen Jay-Z and Beyonce's younger kids? They're retarded. No, like literally. And this is why artificial insemination is such a blessing. Having retarded children is a choice. Now, this is grounds for violence. You know what I'm saying? Talking about someone's children is just absolutely ridiculous. And then he goes on talking about, actually it's this one where he's going like, I took that down, not because, Jay-Z punked me or anything, but because the people told me it was gonna get my Twitter blocked and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then he starts going on and talking about, I love Jay-Z and I know it's gonna hurt Jay-Z to kill me, but somebody got to do it. And he goes, plus I don't want the Jews getting the credit for my murder. And, this, to me, this dude is someone who clearly is having mental issues. And he does have my sympathy, but he just does not deserve to have a mic. What you got to say about this, brother Student X?
Man, I say, brother, get out. Because the thing is that one thing that I can't rule out, in the brother's defense is, man, it seems like this dude got a handler, and maybe he somebody is doing something to this dude. Honestly, because. He always was eccentric, if you will, but, there have been some over the top things, but, he clearly needs to have some counseling, behind the scenes. And you know what? I know I'm going to bring up someone else you guys don't like, but I happen to love the sister, Candace Owens, man. She was brought on to one of the big platform, and she normally comments on with the European dude. I can't think of his name right now, And they know that she has a relationship with him, so they were trying to get her to come in and just go in on them. And to her credit, if she said, "Look, I know the cultures. You guys want people to come in, talk behind people's back and whatnot, but look, I'm gonna say my critique and things I got to say to him directly. This is not for internet consumption. So yet again, another mature, a stance by Candace Owens. But yeah, the brother, definitely seems to have some things going on. But even when he walked out, his wife, butt naked out there at that award show, for all we know, man, maybe she's the handler. Maybe she didn't, they got this cat in the room, looking all, what I'm saying? I don't know, but he definitely seemed off, to say the least.
Two comments before I pass this to you, brother Sam. First, about Candace Owen, her husband was basically selling like a big social media thing to Kanye, so she had a financial interest to be on his to be working with that brother. I'm not saying that she wasn't being legitimate. I'm just saying that there's more to that. And as far as the about the handlers, I had some insight with Kanye, and I'm just saying that he's got people that are scared of him. He's got a lot of people. This dude is very, he's very lashy outy. You know what I'm saying? A lawsuit that I was exposed to, where he's like just sitting there throwing out all these Semitic, anti-Jewish type, all type of like, just crazy slurs, just this, that, Nazi. I mean, he's doing this like on a day-to-day type situation. You see him crashing out on the internet. He's doing that to his employees on the regular. I'm just saying that people are absolutely scared of him. He needs a handler, but the fact of the matter is everybody's afraid of him. They just want their job, and they just let him do what he does. And he's clearly a cry for help. But what you got to say about this, brother Sam? Do you have anything to say about this?
Like from a music perspective, I love Kanye West, to be honest with you. But I don't find it all surprising. If you look back to on that Saturday Night Live where he talked about George Bush, it was like even back then, he was saying something wild. He's been saying wild stuff ever since, and he's never suffered any consequences for it. Like, he's never been canceled. He's never been taken to court for what he said or anything. So if there's no punishment, then yeah, he gonna feel like he can say whatever he wants, do whatever he want, walk around however he want, because he's never had to answer for any of the stuff that he's done or said. So, until that happens, I don't think he'll ever change, help or not. He can get the highest paid psychiatrist in the world, but if he's never held accountable, then it's just gonna continue to be.
So I'll give you a little bit more insight of that. He's been sued big time. So there are great efforts being made to hold him accountable. So he's and as far as what they did with when he was the billionaire, the incredible joke that Dave Chappelle set up on Saturday Night Live, talking about, he's saying that only billionaires don't walk around with the chains out and stuff like that, whatever. And then he said he felt like he could say whatever. He talked about the Jews, and then he basically got dropped by Adidas and lost his billionaire status. And as Dave Chappelle says, take the chain out. So, I'm just saying, this brother has dealt with some consequences, but I agree with you. After a fashion, he's isolated because the people around him, they just cave into him. So,
yeah, he got the money. Yeah. He got the money to do that, though. He can, if he's being sued and the other person wins, yeah, he got the money, but it's never cost him like his whole existence. You know what I mean? Like Dave Chappelle, with the actor, like he got, after he didn't do the Netflix thing, he was low key kind of canceled, but then with Kanye, it's just a little different with him.
So we know, Mr. Floyd X, we're going to be losing you a little bit. So, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for participating.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. You got something to say in parting?
I want to address the Kanye thing. I think it's disgusting what he's doing, particularly speaking about Jay-Z, them children. I really don't like that. And I think that we as a community, a real community, got to say, we got to start Xing people out when they be on their BS. He been on this BS for a long time with the Nazi stuff. And at some point, we got to say we're not going to support him. And he could go make his money wherever, but we're not going to put no money in his pocket. So, I mean, I know the streaming and all the music, we got to figure some way to cut him off. I'm all for free speech, but the stuff he be saying is too disrespectful, man. But I'm out of here, man. Y'all have a enjoy the rest of the show. I'll see y'all.
All right, brother.
Peace, brother.
Thanks, Mr. FedEx.
Yeah. The one thing I say about Kanye, though, too, that I think that we're missing is that this brother seems to know some things, because no one really ever comes at him, with their full weight, at all, so, you have to tread lightly with some of these cats that can just start busting on you or just, take them out, type of deal, but I think there's something bigger that's going on there. He has a certain level of crazy to understand. Like, for example, when he comes with the Nazi symbol, before the Nazis had the symbol, that symbol meant something else. You know what I mean? And so, he does things in a certain type of way. But talking about people's children, the only time I ever condone talking about somebody's children, man, was when man, what's our brother, man, out there in Atlanta that had that little light skin, silly little kid, like, who is it?
T.I.
Yeah. My God, that little brother used to get my goddamn nerves, bro. So say something about him. You know what I'm saying? Get him in check. You know what I mean? But you should probably leave certain things out the table. People's wives, family, children. You know what I mean? Just leave that out the table.
Well, the difference is T.I.'s son was a grown man at the time too. But
true that.
Kanye, he ain't gonna make it. I'll say it like this: if Harriet Tubman was around, he'll be shot by her. And I wish Sway would have put hands on him that day when he said, "Sway."
Oh. He was tripping. He felt like he could say whatever. And the reality was, like, that was going to get to a situation. I mean, definitely, that was cause for hands. If he'd have done that stuff with Walk, that show would have got real interesting real fast. You know what I'm saying? So you got to pick and choose the type of brothers you come with that energy with. And he was absolutely foul. But you know what? He tucked his tail. He tucked his tail when the brother man pushed back on him like that.
Hey, shout out to Big Cuz real quick. He had me weak with he like Kenneth Owens, but he not inviting her to the barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
I have like tremendous respect. Just in time. Like an
afro.
Oh man!
Hey,
So I was about to tie up this Kanye West situation and go hit up some commercials. But you got something you want to say about this? Have you seen the tweets and stuff that this brother's been doing?
Regarding EU, Big U.
No.
Regarding Ye.
Yeah, regarding Ye, talking about Jay-Z's kids being retarded and just all type of stuff. Like that.
Yeah. Well, Kanye is just a piece of shit. That's pretty much. Sums it up. He's a piece of shit who happens to have a mental illness, but he's just a piece of shit.
Sorry.
That's the extent of it. Yeah.
All right, so and I wish I had the picture. I wish I had the video of First Lady's comments about him. So I don't see it here, so I'm just gonna have to move on from it. But suffice it to say, I hope that brother gets some help. Because clearly to me, ever since he lost his mom, I saw a person basically going down a path that he just never recovered for. She seemed like kind of his true north. And maybe if she was still in the picture, he wouldn't be as far out. But, that having been said, he's always going to have my sympathy, but he ain't invited to the barbecue neither, Big Cuz. So that having said, let's probably get into some commercials. Here, let me pull something up.
He could come if he bring his girl with him.
I got you. Ready for the
you got that? Okay. Yeah, let's do a few commercials. That's La Brea Trucking for all your trucking needs, north to south, east to west, and all points in between. If you need something moved by truck, you hit up La Brea Trucking. That's what's up. That's gobealive.org. Go get you some of that black honey. And you got to understand that if you want to get it in person, you can take yourself to the Petty Vice in Venice or go to the Afro City Marketplace at the Crenshaw Mall. But that's Sister Nidra. She's got that good honey. So that's what's up. And that's the score bar. Mr. Floyd X usually has the particulars, but that's the black-owned business. Go get you some wings. Go watch you some sports. Be social, having a few drinky drinks, and that's what's up. So just watch the commercial. You'll see where the address is. The score bar.
Turn up the dial, it's 10:30. Be back. Spin that back show, all the classics on track. From 79 to 99, we're crossing the gap. Album reviews, little known facts, hip hop intact. Saturday mornings, dive into the history. Samples and stories, old school mysteries. From early self-static, Shiraz and CDD. All about a thing.
Yeah, and that's the Spin That Back show. That's not going to be on this week. Maybe next week, but I know the week after that we definitely not going to be here because I know I'm going to be working. So we'll see what we'll do for next week. And I was looking for the mutant politics. Let's see if
That's what's up. So that having been said, if Student X is available, so next week we're gonna try to do the Q part 2. Let's try to do that, and then after that, there's the mutant politics slot if you want to do that, brother Student X, if you're available. Oh, and I'm asking you a question, but that
Oh yeah, I think you just saying that was the plan, bro. My bad.
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah,
that having been said,
but y'all know what's up, man. We're gonna have some hot topics, and we're gonna give that perspective that in our community often is not shared, and we'll let you all be the judge.
That's all right. So Brother Sam had to leave. So thank you for coming on, Brother Sam. And I just do want to put this this post up there talking about Kanye. He does need help in a real way. I 100% believe that. And I hope he gets it. I don't think he will. I don't think he's surrounded by the right people, but I hope it works out. That having been said, all right, let's get into some of these topics that we're holding for you. We're gonna skip down this Jess stuff. We're gonna get straight to so this situation right here. So Brother Neo was he showed up to the award show with 4 different girlfriends and stuff like that. He's out and about it. That's his fivesome. He's rocking it. He's got a basketball team. You know what I'm saying? And it's just he's just living his best life. And Brother Walk was talking about a situation that he wouldn't want for his own kid, and it made me think about as a topic, just like as a father, how would I feel about if my daughter was one of those 4? And to me, this is one of these situations where I just don't think this is a productive relationship. It's not a good look. I understand the grownness about it, the fact that an adult can make adult situations, but this would not be something I would want my daughter to aspire to. So this was a situation that just made me really think about this, and I know Mr. Student X, Afro Agnostic, I know you got a very interesting take on this, but Student X, how would you feel about if your daughter was basically like, oh, I'm just, one of the 5 with Neo?
The same way I would feel if she were involved in as a lesbian, the same way I would feel if she went into porn. You know what I mean? It's not something that I feel is living up to the standard, that I set, as the father in the household. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be, happy with it at all.
You took it to a place I wasn't trying to go, but I respect that. Mr. Afro Agnostics, I know that you're going to touch upon it. So go at it. You have the floor, brother. First of all, welcome back and say what you got to say.
I appreciate it. I had to go out do a little job hunting because Trump / Doechii. Everything. But I don't know. So I had to, pursue my job security. But as far as being in that type of relationship, it falls under the umbrella of polyamorous. I'm just really more concerned with the nature of the relationship, because you can be in a one-on-one monogamous relationship. It can be abusive. It can be toxic. So I'm concerned about things like that. Does it involve incest? Does it involve animals? Does it involve kids? And if it doesn't, and it's mutually and it's consensual and it's ethical, I don't really mind, because I'm not really tied into the box of a nuclear family, extended family, whatever type of family where adults can get along with consent. I'm okay with it. No problem.
That wasn't controversial. I knew that's exactly what the brother was going to say. Being the heterophobic person that he is. You know what I mean? I already knew.
Heterophobic.
I'm down with all. I clearly said I'm all inclusive of everybody. I don't.
For sure. You consistent, brother. You definitely consistent.
That's not heterophobia. I'm not heterophobia or homophobia.
And I will say that, and I will say, when I say that it was controversial, I'm just saying it was contrary to what pretty much everybody else that I've asked. Again, this wouldn't be cause to disown my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, if they're being a grown up and there's no abuse, I definitely would rather them be in that type of situation without abuse than a traditional situation with heavy abuse. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that, there's a lot of things that come into the picture. But I'd be just thinking like, boy, you're selling yourself short. This is to me, this is a nowhere relationship. But infamous El Pooh, what's your take?
Oh,
as a father of how many daughters?
3.
Ooh. That's what's up.
I would be very, very disappointed. And I'm not saying I would do this, but I would have flashbacks of that old black and white TV that you had to like smack upside, And that's what my thought process would be. But if you're doing something like this, I wouldn't want to know about it, honestly. It would just break my heart. But if you're grown, my daughters are all grown. I mean, whatever they decide to do with their lives, it's okay with me. But just I wouldn't want to know about it. That's the best way I can put it.
And the reason why it really kind of hit home with me is just that, as a guy, you might think like, oh, that's pretty cool for Neo. But as a girl dad, I can't help but always think about the flip side of that. And I'm just saying that,
I don't think it's cool for Neo. Didn't y'all? What was the first topic we was talking about?
Exactly. It's expensive.
He did it 3 times worse.
But you gotta remember though, the only people that this really happened to is high value men. You know what I mean? Because then now, again, like we talked about one of the early segments, is when you look at the ideal, a man that women are pursuing. You're only talking about a small percentage of the population. You know what I mean? So that's why you have a large population in the U.S. in particular that are men who are doing well, that largely have sexless relationships. You know what I mean? Because, a lot of these women, again, are pursuing the same men. So there's already some of this going on, whether they know it or not. You might be part of a roster and not even know it. You know what I mean? But at least when it's open, and out there, where all parties, can consent to it, and on the same page, I respect that. You know what I mean? I got to respect it.
Yeah, that's what's up. So, if you're ready to move on to this next one, because now here goes the juicy one. This is what he really wanted you to be here for, Alpha Agnostics. The issue was, can you be MAGA in black? Now, again, the only reason I came up with this topic is because I know that D.L. Hewley made his comments, and then you had, I think, that senator that was talking about it. And it's really more complicated than this, but I'm gonna give the floor first to Afro Agnostics. The question is, can you be MAGA? Can you be MAGA and black?
Okay, so I just want to maybe if I can address it this way. So,
yes.
The SP, I think the hate groups, explicitly blatant racist groups that are explicitly blatant, they are open supporters of Trump. And the majority of black people are not, do not support Trump. For that reason, it's very consistent that they, one supports and one doesn't support for the same reason. They have the same view of Trump. So I think that when being black and being MAGA, you have to really jump over some hurdles. You have to really look past a lot of things, and that are, to most black people and to the white people, his racist supporters, are blatantly obvious to them. So I think that this is not to say that you're not a rational person, but you kind of like someone who is deeply involved in religion. You kind of compartmentalize things when it comes to your religion. Outside of your religion, rational. But when it comes to issues around Trump, like issues around DEI, immigration, issues around them. For instance, just one quick example. I want to hear what other folks have to say. Trump labeled BLM a hate group and said that when they start the looting, you start the shooting, which was a racist phrase from a Florida patrolman. But January 6th, gave them a pardon. So looking past those things, I think it takes a level of irrationality. You have to be irrational when it comes to those issues.
All right, student X, you are cut loose, brother. How do you want to retort?
So I love ice cream, but guess who else loves ice cream? There's some racist people that I think like ice cream too. So it's just not enough to associate the fact that in MAGA, just like in the Democrat, I argue the Democrats are more racist than the Republicans, honestly, but, in that movement, you're going to find, some people who you absolutely don't agree about, that are racist, that, they have a different reason to be promoting, Trump, or having vote for Trump, than others, but the bottom line is, absolutely you could be, black and MAGA. And in fact, I will argue that you should be. But what I mean by MAGA is exactly, what it says is making America great. You know what I mean? A lot of us get hung up on the
black MAGA and rational though. You said black and MAGA. We know that black MAGA and rational. That's what he's.
Yeah, black MAGA, right? Exactly. So how would it not be? How would it be irrational to not want to see this country be all that it could be? You know what I mean? And be stronger. And then a lot of us. A lot of our parents in particular, and then even me to a degree, I'm 50, but I can remember a time where, the doors on the house were unlocked. You didn't have to lock the doors. You could walk outside and play, have a good time. You have to worry about getting shot up. These are examples when people are saying, again, that they want to go back to, back when, America had, more, standing in the international community.
Can you give me a time period that you're referring to?
Hold on, bro. I didn't hear what you were saying. You were talking over. I didn't hear what you said.
Because you're saying going back to a time when things were better. Can you give me like a time period that you're referring to, so I can just?
Well, no, I want to say necessarily a time period, but like I said, when just going back, when even during the height of racism and slavery, we had thriving communities, we had unified communities, we had high education taking place, even despite all the craziness that was around us, but again, we could all agree that improving, on, the racist foundation, that America stood on, and seeing that be different to this day. There was a time when a police officer was involved in misdeeds in our community that they wouldn't be prosecuted. There was a time where we could get compensation, for being treated, ill. Those are times of the past, because today, those things are settled, and we could do things a little different. But again, I gave you an example. There was a time where we could also, again, have your door unlocked. My parents used to tell me, look, be back in by the time the street lights come on.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
That was a different time, so there are aspects, going back, even though there were also negatives that existed, there was also some positive, attributes.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, brother, infamous El Poo, you was about to say something. You still got what you were thinking about?
Yeah, one thing, it depends on where you live, because I lived in LA. It ain't never been that safe for us in my time. That's what I'm saying. And number two, what you just said about the cops and everything, where they can do some nefarious things and not have any type of consequences. Those days are coming back. That's that great America that they talking about bringing back.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that for a second. You know, there's cases right now that we're looking at, you know, and then again, I mean, let's say that, you know, we as a community start seeing ill impacts. You know, I'll play devil's advocate. You know, let's say we start seeing some ill impacts from Trump being back in power, you know, that is negatively impacting our community. Then now we have a choice. We have a choice of how we need to respond and what we need to do and how we need to organize to change that reality. And today, you know, there are aspects of our civilization that we're in a better position to respond than it was, you know, in the past. You know, some of us we were allowed to have firearms and whatnot, things of this nature. You know, so you know that there are some things that are different, you know, today. But ultimately, you know, I don't believe that, you know, we're stepping back in the time to where now we're going to be slaves again in chains and have less rights.
I don't think that's the issue. The issue is like, can you be black and MAGA and rational? So like on the issue, for instance, Trump never condemned the Proud Boys or the oath takers, but yet he took a condemnation stance against BLM. How do you rationalize and explain that? Because most black people will look at that as a racial bias at the very least, bigotry, racism, and white racist groups that are openly racist look at that as a
confirmation of their position.
Yes. Yes. So how do you interpret it as a person who wouldn't have a problem with a black MAGA? How would you interpret that contrast?
And one more thing before you answer that too. And what about this movement to pardon Derek Chauvin?
Well, so I'll address the latter first. You know, that is in terms of pardoning Derek Chauvin, that's not a policy that emerged from the Trump administration. Some podcasters have suggested that. You know what I mean? But that's not a policy amongst a black population. Now, there are some people, like, for example, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Musk is doing it. It's MAGA. It's MAGA. Yeah, MAGA.
Musk he's not a part of the cabinet of the Trump administration. He's serving a purpose in terms of with Doge of looking at government efficiency. And I'm sure there are some who wants to see Derek Chauvin, you know, pardoned because of a couple reasons. You know, when you look at the video, you know, his knee was not on the neck, you know what I mean, at all. You know what I mean? You know, so there are things to where people are like saying that, hey, you know, this dude was, you know, on drugs, had a history of being on drugs. You know, that's what led to his death was that, you know, so there are arguments on that side that, you know, would suggest that, you know, Derek Chauvin, you know, shouldn't be in jail. But I know right now the big thing is, and I remember Candace Owens that made this point recently, is that most people are saying that, you know, that they want him to, you know, not be pardoned, you know, from the federal charges, because when he started off in the state institutions, you know, he was stabbed, you know, there was all type of situations, and he's in a much safer, better position now being with the feds, you know, even though he's locked up, you know, I'm going to say, you know, he's a minimum security type of prison style right now, you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of people, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they see that a foreman, or the foreman essentially was used as a what do you call a false flag.
Okay, so the entirety of the Black Lives Matter movement would differ from you, and the entirety of black people. But however, skinheads, neo-Nazis, and those groups would agree with you in that position. Would you agree to that? They're more likely to see.
I would. First of all, I was sharing with, you know, not only that there are skinheads and others and racist people and whatnot that would agree that Derek Chauvin should not be in jail. Sure, but guess what? There are others who also agree with that as well too. There are not skinheads, you know, and who love our people.
Student X. This is a situation where you answer the question because he's walking you to something. So we understand all that other stuff, but just the question is yes, right? That's your answer to those questions, right?
No, my answer was what I said. You know what I mean? That you will find that belief. among not just so-called
He didn't
racist
say that
people,
they were
but
only. He wasn't
rational
he
thinking
didn't-
people as well.
He didn't say that these were the only.
I mean, I'm not worried about what he was saying, but I'm answering the way I would answer it.
But you're
I'm
not
saying that there are a variety of people throughout America that believe that Chauvin was a false flag and that there was way too much, put on it. Way too much.
And the people that do that tend to are the people that have wear the glasses that look at the black people as the criminals and the people that don't.
I don't agree with that.
Wait a second. If you
I know.
Wait, brother. If you're gonna answer your question, you gotta let me answer my question how I'm gonna answer it. Okay, I'm gonna say that. Look, this is the reality. Okay, we see that these. I always say that. Look at the people around you. You know what I'm saying? Look at the people who are basically yelling the loudest to support the position that you're taking. And I'm just saying that these people that are sort of like victimizing a black man who had a counterfeit $20 bill versus a cop who was doing something so blatantly against what police policy was. It wasn't a function of just, hey, we need a political patsy, you know what I'm saying? Because the police will defend their own. But this is a situation where he was doing something that's clearly a violation. You're talking about that his knee wasn't on his throat. First of all, you can choke out a person by all types of dynamics of where if his oxygen supply was being cut off. But all the evidence, the actual evidence is suggesting that was the case. Notwithstanding whether that was absolutely the case, it was a complete, absolute violation of protocols of the situation. So we have a person that died over a fake $20 bill because this person didn't follow these policies. If he just basically did what should have been done and he just fell out and died in the cop car, that's a completely different scenario. But that's not the scenario what it is. And what kind of blows our mind is that people seem to be extremely apologetic for things like January 6th, things like whatever. Whereas most people, I'm saying that a lot of people that I talk to are just like, if that had been Black Lives Matter, that would have played out completely different. And not just because Black Lives Matter are necessarily more terrible or whatever, this, that, and other. We just know that those rules.
No, you're right. It did play up much different because Black Lives Matter, they were allowed to loot, cause, all type of serious damage inside neighborhoods or whatnot. And then very few, if any, were held accountable, so there was a double standard. And what I'm saying is that, I don't agree but how you summarize the events, in terms of, that this was just some, a random guy had a fake $20 bill, and ultimately that's what led to his death. There are a lot of other circumstances, that came into play that ultimately, how he found himself in that particular situation. So me personally, I don't put, I said Foreman, George, because it's George, but Floyd, I don't put him on that same pedestal, or that same, of other situations that we've seen police abuse, so legitimate piece of abuse. And I don't, me personally, I don't put it there. And I know I talked about this subject more with, other Black people in general, Black men in particular, who absolutely, see things, similarly in terms of, that Chauvin, there was a lot of extra that was put on that situation. It was politically, put together to move a group of people, towards, being anti-Trump, and anti his administration and pushing an agenda. A lot of people believe that.
Trump was literally against it. When it first came out, Trump was basically on everybody else saying that, just whatever. So I'm just saying that this is a lot of sort of like revisiting of the history of the situation. But, look, this dude violated police protocols. That's a fact.
Yeah, I think even if what Student X is saying, even if it's true, let's just say his position is true. I'm saying Black people, the whole almost entirety of Black people and the entirety of white racist groups, the majority of whites and the almost the entirety of white blatantly racist group, they see it different. So, and the difference in how they see Trump is consistent because whatever racists embrace, it would be natural for Black people to reject. And we do see that Black people, by and large, reject Trump, reject the MAGA movement. White racists, by and large, embrace it. I think that's consistent.
Both those groups are small in number, in terms of, both Black people who don't support Trump, and then
87%. And that's most of us, though. I'm saying the majority of us.
So a large percentage among us, but in terms of the general population, you know, then no, it's not so large.
We're talking about black and MAGA.
Extremes on both sides.
Yeah, but we're talking about black and MAGA. I'm saying people see a lot of the contrast and the differences. Like, for instance, a lot of the MAGA folks were anti-maskers, anti-vaxxers. But then when it come to abortion, is, you know, your body, our choice. You know, some other examples, they were against a lot of folks. I think yourself, you gave a smudge facial expression about the boycott of Target. But yet a lot of conservatives supported the boycott Budweiser because of the transgender. So I'm saying black people are seeing this contrast, and this is why they're puzzled about a black MAGA, because black MAGA have to jump over this and do mental gymnastics, things that to the majority of us are obvious and just really shocked and surprised. Like, he's so anti-immigrant, but he's offering immigration status, or, you know, to white South Africans who've been.
Let's address some of what you're saying. You know, there's a lot to rehash.
I'm just giving a few issues that we see a contrast. And black
but there is a contrast. It's a huge contrast.
Black people see this as a
let's address some of the points you brought up before you bring up any more. You know, so again, I'll work backwards, and you have to remind me on some of them. But the last one you had brought up was in terms of one of them was the Target boycott versus a Bud Light, boycott. Again, those weren't. There were plenty of black people, you know, that supported, you know, the Bud Light boycott. You know what I mean? Plenty. You know, it wasn't something that was exclusively white, you know what I mean, at all. You know, there were and plenty of Mexicans, Hispanics, you know what I mean? You know, and
that's really not the issue.
What was the last one you brought?
That's really not the issue, because it's very important that you understand that when we're talking about black and MAGA, first of all,
wait, hold on. You're going too far. Let's finish addressing what Afro was talking about, because you know, you guys are giving me a lot, you know what I mean, and so we're not addressing it.
But those aren't the point. He's pointing.
That is the point.
It isn't, because let me explain. Okay, we're talking about black and MAGA. We're not talking about black and Trump. Those are completely different things. You can be a Trump.
But everyone knows that MAGA and Trump is synonymous. Hell, he coined the phrase.
Are you MAGA?
No, I'm not MAGA.
Wait, stop. But wait, no, I just asked you a question. Are you MAGA? You said no.
No.
Okay. Are you?
I did not vote for Trump.
Okay, but do you support a lot of stuff that Trump does?
I want to say a lot, you know, but you know, there are some things I absolutely support for sure.
Again, so therefore there can be a difference. I'm just telling you, there are people that are there are Republicans that basically see Trump is still better than the Democratic option, but they're not MAGA. I'm just telling you, regardless of how people see it, that's not the point. We're trying to direct you to some math, and the math is that MAGA is different. There, you know what I'm saying? Being a Trump supporter and being a MAGA supporter are two different things. Okay, I'm just saying. So we're distinguishing.
No, I mean, not necessarily, but I understand what you're saying.
Math.
It's all semantics, brother. It's all semantics. You know what I mean? Again, Trump coined the MAGA term. That's what he's running on. Make America great again, and that again is what gets a lot of us. You know what I mean? Is that again, because we're going back in history to be like, hey, okay, we were in a lot worse position in the past than we are today.
Student X. People voted for Kamala Harris. They're not Democrats.
Okay, we got a couple of good comments here. When was America great for you all? And what will make America great for you?
I think America is great right now. I think there was aspects of America being great in the past. I mean, we all have, you know, grandfathers, grandmothers, and whatnot, you know, who, you know, did well. You know, again, it's not everybody, but there's some who did well. You know, we are in arguably the greatest country in the world, despite, you know, some of the challenges. You know, there are people, you know, coming over the border, you know, to the tunes of tens of millions, you know what I mean, for a reason, and that is because they want access to this economy, you know, and its people. So
we just say real quick, because
one thing you guys tend to do a lot, you know, and I kind of roll with it, but I get interrupted a lot, you know, and I haven't.
The reason
you know,
why,
going, you know, off the wire, you know what I mean? You know, but you know, I'll let you all finish your points, you know, but I get interrupted a lot on this show. And, you know, it's only a matter of time before, you know, y'all see, you know what I mean, the full 6'5", 260 frame, you know what I mean, exert that type of energy and force. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that, again, you know, on this topic, you know, if everyone will agree here that America is a great place to be, you know what I mean?
Okay, so you said everybody,
otherwise we would go somewhere else because we have that ability. We don't have to live here.
Everybody doesn't have that.
Yeah, everybody does. Student X. The reason why we try to direct it is it's not an issue of cutting you off. It's just basically directing you back to a particular topic. If you want to just,
I don't need to be directed back. I'm talking about the topic that we're dealing with. You know what I mean? And I'm answering questions that people are posing to me, and in the middle of me answering it, then I hear chiming going on and whatnot. Then I'm trying to listen to what's being said and whatnot, and that happens more often than not.
But the reason why it happens, brother Student X, respect,
because you are oftentimes will be disrespectful and emotional on the subject when I'm level-headed on a situation. I could just talk without emotion and just address the reality and the vantage point that myself and others share.
With all due respect, you're being emotional now, and I'm not. And I'm just telling
because I've been interrupted, multiple times in the course of just this dialogue.
Because let me explain you something. When someone's asking you again, if someone's asking you a question, we're just trying to establish some math. So it's not an issue of
right. And my mid-question, when I'm responding to a question, I've been cut off multiple times. So if you think that I'm going to sit here and just allow that to happen without putting my foot down, you got another thing coming. You know what I mean? That's how it goes.
But if you're not see, there's the problem. We can let you just go on and on, but the
and I let you all go on and on most of the time. Now I'm interrupting to show you how it feels. You know what I mean? It's not that fun
honestly, brother Student X, you do this a lot. It's not an issue for me.
No, sir. No, most of the time I sit here, I listen to what people say, and then after you have talked double the time I've talked, then I might jump in.
I'm telling you right now, I could chop up the video and show you differently. Again, I value your dialogue, so that's why I encourage it after a fashion. But especially since we're already over the show, we're trying to basically see this is what it is. He was asking a particular question to address a particular point. So technically that was his turn. So he was just trying to get a yes or no just to create a math situation. Then you would have an opportunity to respond to that once the math is established.
Yeah, this isn't a sitting here, bro. I don't. Most of the time, I don't answer in a yes or no. There's some type of explanation, but I can control my responses to a 30-second, a minute if need be. And we want to do time periods, for one another. Hey, we could do that. What I mean? What I'm saying is that in the middle of my response, I shouldn't be interrupted, unless someone's trying to get clarification real quick. That's why usually I stop because I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe, someone wants a little clarification, but then oftentimes we go to something else, when I didn't finish addressing what was just asked of me.
That's the point.
Y'all, can we say this for after the show? We'll save this conversation for after the show.
This is a very important input because I got to show love and respect for my brother Student X. It is for clarification. That's literally the whole purpose of it. Now we can dispute how eloquently that is done, but it's usually about clarification to make sure not that you're not getting your point out, not that you're not having a say to give your point, but to make sure that you're attacking the particular point that he's making. Because again, you may have a whole bunch of valid information to offer, but he's offering up something specific. So that's why it's basically about directing you to that specific thing. It's not about putting you into a corner. It's not about not letting you speak. It's just to make sure that when you address it, you're addressing the thing.
But I was doing a fabulous job of addressing the points that Afro knocked up. In fact, I went back to him to remember because a lot of times things are being put out, a lot of that time. So it's like, okay, well, let's address the subject, the examples that you gave, and then let's go ahead and deal with it. But like I said, in the middle of me responding, just in that last, dialogue, when the brother was talking about, the different situations, that he had brought up, I got a chance to address one, kinda because I didn't finish, but there was two other points that he had brought up in terms of compare and contrast, and I thought it was a brilliant question and something that, would be worthy of our audience to be able to see the different point of views.
But see, you were arguing about whether those things were true or not. And all he was making a point was that Black people tend to gravitate to this argument. It wasn't about the validity of the point. He was basically just addressing the fact that there's a gravity of position. Am I correct, Afro agnostics?
Yeah, and some of those questions, though,
Well,
to be honest,
I
I
just-
thought that you were deviating, making points, but not related to the issue or the question of the agenda.
We will
item.
never know,
That's
you know,
why
because I
trying-
never got a chance to finish addressing any of it. You know, I was halfway through a sentence. You know what I mean? You know, at the end of the day,
Well,
you know.
I
So
think-
my
I think
point
if
is
we-
that
Okay. I think if we go back and look at the tapes, though, we'll see that I'm willing to bet that you have ample talk time. You do really exhaust, and I'm not saying that I don't either. El Pooh brought it to my attention, though. You have a lot of time to talk. And sometimes I feel, maybe others feel differently, especially in this issue, that I'm trying to rail you back in specifically to the issue. But that can be my perspective.
Yeah, it's not about silence you. It's not about letting you get your voice out. And the only reason I'm doing this, continuing this on camera, because I know Big Cuz is saying this is an off-camera discussion. Too much of this discussion happened on camera, so we basically got to address it because I just want to make sure that you understand that you got the respect and the love. And again, you're always going to get your chance to speak. It's just that when someone's asking a particular question, all I ask is at least give them the opportunities to go to the point that they wanted to go. Then you have free reign to take it however you want. But I'm gonna let El Pooh close this all up and say what you want to say, El Pooh, so you can put in the butt a bow tie on this. So again, it's always respect and love, brother student X. But and we always value your information, whether we agree with it or not. That's really not the point. And we always want you to feel that your voice will be heard and you'll have something to say. But we also do understand that we have constraints of time, so that's why we do try to streamline some things after a fashion. But infamous El Pooh, go ahead.
I respect everybody's opinion here and everything, but I'm gonna say one thing. It's a difference between a conversation between a few people and a dialogue. Dialogue is between two people. And a lot of times this becomes a dialogue more often than not than a general conversation with everybody else. Everybody needs to express themselves. That's okay and everything. But right about now, we're going in circles, and I think it's about time to end this show. We can go ahead and continue this after we off the show. And we like to thank everybody for coming in this weekend. Oh, you can go ahead and close it out though, bro, if you want to.
As that having been said, like, share, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Your voices, we want to make sure that everybody has a voice here, and not just the people on the panel, but we're trying to put your comments up, just the same. So we want to make sure that's the case. And if to any feathers that are ruffled, you know what I'm saying? Again, this is always coming from a place of love and respect. And that having been said, like, share, subscribe, share. Thank you for watching and participating. Everybody. You gonna end it, El Pooh, or am I gonna end it?